Good morning and welcome to Morning Moments. I have a return guest for Morning Moments. She was interviewed last year. And when I was looking at my records, she was number 51. And I really didn't do a lot of interviews before her. And since then, God's opened up doors to do over 300 plus interviews. But I wanted to have Debra Torres back. She is a author, she's just not a author of a book. She's multiple books now, an author of Amish fiction. It is my pleasure to bring back to Morning Moments, Debra Torres. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you, Andy. It's so good to be here. Back again. It feels very comfortable being here, being interviewed by you again. And I'm happy to be here talking about my second book. So thank you.
The first book was Forbidden Gift, and you got another forbidden book, right?
Yeah.
Forbidden Truth.
Yeah. So this is the second one, just came out Easter weekend. And then this is the first one. It's actually a 3-book series. So this is Forbidden Gift, Forbidden Truth, and my third book will be Forbidden Love. And that one I'll be starting to write very soon.
Good. Very good. Now, you also were involved in helping Amish fiction writers, reviewing them, also connecting with them. And there's a great community of people who follow and read Amish fiction. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. Well, 2 things I do. I have a YouTube channel, an Amish book review YouTube channel, and that's where I am helping the writers get their books out. And then I have a Facebook group started in January. It's called Amish Book Friends of Debra Torres, author. So this really consists of readers of Amish fiction. Although I have been attracting some big names recently of Amish fiction authors who have been asking you have to ask to come into my group. And so I see these big authors asking to yes, come on in. So yeah, it's a good group. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, one of those moments where you go, let me pray about that. Okay, I'm done. You
come on in. Exactly.
So God has really opened those doors with you in those connections, and what I like to call sometimes those holy connections, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was telling you earlier, I was at an event for Amish authors and readers in Shipshewana, Indiana last year. And I met an author who I'd been following and connecting with a little bit because we both write about the same region in northwestern Pennsylvania. And anyway, I met her at the event, and she has become my writing partner. And it's just one of those things, Andy, you just sit back and you're like, that had to be God, because it's not me. And she has just blessed me so much. She is a little bit farther along than I am in the writing process, and way farther along in understanding marketing for Amish fiction books and what works and what doesn't. So I have just been learning from her, just been so blessed to partner with her. We're actually writing a book together. Her name is Tracy Frederickowski, and we're writing a book together, the Amish Christmas at the Apple Blossom Inn. It will be coming out this December.
Okay, good. We're going to have both of you back and talk about that back in December. Put that down. We'd love to have you both back for that. Yeah. You also have a newsletter that you are involved with at helping connect people. You still got that recipe?
Yeah, in fact, now I have 3 different cookbooks depending on the season. So I have one Amish and Mennonite recipes, which I'll give you the link and you can put that in the show notes if you want. But that will provide it gives you a 30-page cookbook, full color cookbook. Well, it's digital. I have to tell people that it's a PDF download that they get in their inbox. But it's beautiful. The pictures are amazing. It's all of areas in northwestern Pennsylvania where I write about near New Wilmington. And incredible Amish and Mennonite recipes. But I do also have one that I send out to people in the fall, and one for Christmas as well. So kind of has become a little bit of a seasonal thing for me.
Yes, that sounds good. What draws people to the Amish fiction? What do you think? Why is there such a following?
Well, it's so amazing because on my Facebook group, I can ask when people request to join, I have them answer 3 questions. And one of them I ask them is, why do you read? And so people love to say people love to talk about books and how they started reading. The second one is, why do you like Amish fiction? And so many people just talk about the simple lifestyle.
Yeah.
That most books are very predictable in that they don't include things that are offensive. Anybody can read them. Some use it as an escape, from their own lives. It's just I don't know. That's probably the reason why I started reading Amish fiction as well. It brings you to a very different time and place where a lot of it is very farming oriented, recipes, goodness, family, God. There's just all that lumped into these books, and then there's stories, in that era. So it's just very enjoyable. A lot of readers. I have one reader who just keeps telling me she wants to move to be next to the Amish. She reached out to me. Do you know of anybody, anybody anywhere I could live next to the Amish? Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it's just incredible.
I think maybe sometimes there's something maybe just be said about in this day and age, we're all plugged into something.
Mm-hmm.
That thought of being unplugged
Yeah.
from devices and from electricity and from the news and from everything else that's just overwhelming. It's like a take me away situation where those books can kind of take you there. Is that what you're seeing too?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, definitely. A place of peace, a place of escape. And a place where they can grow in their faith too. That's one of the things that I like about a lot of the Amish fiction books. And that's what I try to write in my books as well. I always try to have some areas where my character is growing in an area of faith, of her faith or his faith, that will hopefully translate in the reader's life as well. They can be like, hey, that's like me, I need that too. That's my goal. I call it a writing ministry. Because I love to write and I love being an author, but my number one goal is that people come to a saving knowledge of who Jesus is, and also the people who already have that grow in their faith and walk out in freedom in Christ as well. So that's a big issue as well. In this book, my main character goes through goes on a journey of understanding more who she is in Christ. So that's what I drove home in this book really hard, is she kind of gets that now towards the end of the book, not in the middle of the book. She doesn't get it, but there's some people that really help her to understand that, and she grows in that and scriptures. And so it was a good opportunity to write, and hopefully when people read it, they get that message.
There's so many principles that are godly biblical principles that are true no matter if you live in a city of 4 million people and take the subway to work, or if you go back and forth with a buggy. And the principles of biblical principles are true here in the United States or halfway around the world. And that's so important to be able to look at those principles and say, how can I truly grow in Christ? And how can I become what he wants me to be?
Exactly.
So it's really good to hear that your book's doing good, and that you're advancing, and you're getting ready to write that 3rd book, and we're real excited for you. Is there any lessons learned the last I know I asked you this last time. Any big lessons learned that you just share with my audience, and of that you just want to share from your heart today?
Yeah, I think one of them is something that maybe we already touched on a little bit, but it's so important. And I think I talked about it in my last interview as well, is just goals and moving forward in those goals and finding out what those goals are that God has for you. Not, sometimes our goals are like, this is a me thing, and then doors keep closing. Why are they closing? It's my goal. Well, finding God's goals for you and just knowing in your heart you're supposed to go in that direction. I had we did a photo shoot for some actually some more future books that I'm working on. And I had some sisters in the photo shoots, and at the end of the book, at the end of the shoot, I gave them one of my books. And in talking to these girls who actually played the Amish models on the cover, they had so many goals and so many dreams. It was exciting to listen to them. And so on the inscription on the front cover, I wrote it here, but I wrote, "Step forward in your God-given dream and watch him open the door." And that's the way I feel like, I feel like when you step forward, okay, God, I feel like I'm supposed to step forward, but I've got a closed door in front of me. You making that step, doing that Facebook group page, even though I feel like, why am I doing it? I don't even know if I should do this. Step forward in it. I started that, as I told you, and I started that January 1st. I have 717 Amish book lovers in that group now. So step forward, and if it's a God-given goal, watch him open the doors. Watch him do that for you. And I was listening to also a podcast today from Chris Fox, who writes I wrote it down here. He writes fantasy and sci-fi, but he was saying some things about time. That how to spend your time. And some of the things he said, I wrote down because I was like, I bet I could share this today with it. But he talks about our priorities and what are our priorities. And one thing he says, he said, you look sometimes and see, wow, look at him. He's got a podcast, or, the things that he's doing on YouTube, or she's written 2 authors, but I can't do that. Even though I have dreams, I can't do that. But Chris Fox said priorities are all that separates people who are out there doing the really crazy stuff from us. Maybe the people who aren't doing anything, just sitting on their couch, not following their goals. But when you have a priority, you make room for those things in the nooks and crannies of your day. I work full time, but I'm up at 5:30 in the morning, having a little devotional time, and then writing a scene for a half an hour, and then starting my full-time job, and then after it gets tiring. But in the nooks and crannies of your day, if you have those priorities, your dream you will see it come to fruition. I mean, you have a testimony yourself, Andy, in seeing that happen.
I was just thinking when you were talking, illustration that came to my mind, and sometimes I think we trust and have more faith in the automated door at Walmart or the grocery store than we do God. Mm-hmm. We're going to walk through that automated door, and we know that I'm going to walk through it. The door is going to open because that's got an automated light to it, and I'm going to walk through it. We don't hesitate. We've walked through them so many times. You don't think it's going to fail, and I'm going to run into that door. But when it comes to God speaking to us, we go so far and we go, oh, I don't think I could get there. Mm-hmm. Just walk as if it's as if it's an automated door, and say, if God told me to do it, I'm walking. Mm-hmm. And take that step of faith, and God was going to bless you.
Yeah. I think God honors those steps too. He sees that step of faith. He sees that faith, and you're stepping, oh, she's doing it. She's going. Let's open the door. Let's put a friend in her life who can help her. Yeah. Let's put readers in her life who can read her books. Let's do that. Opening the doors, the things I needed, I didn't even know I needed, but he had them around the bend.
Thank you so much for coming back. I'm going to ask you to come around Christmas time too, right, for that next book. For those of you who are watching this, some of you may be watching it on YouTube, on Facebook. There's going to be information how you could get the books, how you could get a hold of their information. You may be watching it from other sources and need to go back to my YouTube channel or Facebook to look at those links. And if you'll do that, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, I appreciate it. However you're watching this today, I am so glad that you took the time to be with us with Morning Moments. And I thank you, Debra, for coming to be my guest again on Morning Moments. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Please remember her in prayer, that God would continue to bless her creativity, and give her the right people at the right place at the right time, and be praying for her. And we will be praying for you, and keep coming back for some more Morning Moments. And God bless you.